Hello everyone. In this wonderful session and the last session, that is part 7 of chapter 3 plant kingdom, we will discuss life cycle of angiosperms. We have to see different type of life cycles found in plant, that is haplontic, diplontic and haplodiplontic life cycle. And as usual, because this is the last part of the chapter, we have to see NCERT exemplars. Some of the questions we will discuss, and then the questions of previous year examinations we'll discuss here. Children, that is detail of this you have to study when we'll deal sexual reproduction in flowering plant. But here that is given in class 11th introductory part of this is given. That's why we have to see that here. You see, this is the angiospermic plant, this one. This is the sporophytic one, sporophyte, right? Sporophyte, you know, it is having 2 and a number of chromosomes, and as this is angiospermic plant, it is having the flower here, flower bearing plant, flowering plant. These are, you know, the flower, if you draw the structure of flower, that is, this is the, that is a platform of the flower known as thalamus, that this is the, that is the outer hole known as calyx, this is the inner colored hole, usually corolla. At the center hole we have that this is the, that is carpel. The swollen base of the carpel is known as ovary, and this is, that is the stamen, and his fertile part of the stamen is, that is anther. Can I summarize? This one is the sepal, this one is the, that is petal, this one is the, that is stamen, right, and this one is the, that is the carpel. We have to see, because we are concerned with, that is life cycle of angiosperm now. So we have to say that these are the female, that is reproductive part, and stamen is the, that is male reproductive part. You see here that this is the male reproductive part, that is, this is the filament, and this one is the anther. If I enlarge here structure of anther, that is, if you see the structure of anther, it is usually, that is diathecous one, having, that is 2 chambers, that is 2 lobes it is having. This is one lobe and this is the other lobe. In each lobe we have, that is, these are the 2 microsporangia are there. That's why overall a diathecous, this is known as, that is diathecous anther. It is having 4 microsporangia, so we may call it as that this is tetrasporangiate. This one is tetrasporangiate. So what will happen now here, that in this microsporangia it has, that is microspore mother cell, which are having 2 n number of chromosomes. They will divide by, that is meiosis, as a result of which what will be there, you know, that is 4 microspores will be formed. The microspores will be separated, known as pollen grains, and the pollen grains, they will be pollinated. In most of the angiosperm, the pollen is pollinated in 2 cell stage. One cell is the larger one, known as, that is vegetative cell. Vegetative cell this one is, and this the smaller one is known as, that is generative cell. Is it? You come to this diagram of NCERT. This is anther. Anther is having microspore mother cells. Numerous mother cells are there. That is this microspore mother cell. It will divide by, that is meiosis, division will be there. The reduction division I told you. Microspores will be formed. Microspores will be pollinated. That is, this pollination will be there. And this microspore is having, that is 2 cells. That is the larger one, that is the vegetative cell, and the other one is having, that is generative cell. Is it right? What happens after pollination? You see, we are here now. Let this is, that is, this is the, what is this? This one is, that is stigma, and that this is the style. The pollen will be pollinated on the right stigma. When it has come, the pollen will start germination, and what will be there? A pollen tube will come out. This pollen tube will grow through this style here, right? And this is the pollen tube is growing. What happens? That is, the tube nucleus will be at the, that is tip of this, which usually generate, and in time to come, this is followed by, that is, this is the generative nucleus. This one is generative cell, or we may call that one is generative cell. What happens now? Now in this generative cell, that is this nucleus will divide and two male gametes will be formed here. These are the two male gametes will be formed, right? By this time, this tube nucleus will, that is, disappear. And what happens now? That is, this pollen tube that has to enter now into, that is, it has to enter into the ovule, that is in embryo sac. We have to see little later. Come to this point now. Now this is the female reproductive organ. This is the stigma, this is the style, and this is the ovary. Inside the ovary we have here, that we have to come here. Inside the ovary, that this is the ovary we have here. Inside the ovary there is the ovule. Inside the ovule we have, that is, this is the embryo sac, right? Now in this embryo sac, as I told you earlier, embryo sac is having, it is having 7-celled and it is having, that is, 8 nuclei, 7-celled and 8 nucleated one. Now you see this pollen tube that is coming through this style, and pollen tube ultimately it will enter into the embryo sac. If you see here that this is the embryo sac here, you see here this one is embryo sac. I may enlarge it. This is the embryo sac here. This is the micropylar end. These are the two synergids. This is the egg, two synergids. These are the two polar nuclei, and these are the, that is, 3 antipodal cell. The pollen, this, you know, this is the female gametophyte, and this is inside this ovule. This is inside the ovule, right? Like this. Pollen, that is, tube has entered here, and pollen tube has released two male gamete now here, and two male gamete. One will fuse with egg. What will be? The result is known as, can you summarize? Can you recall it? That is known as, that is syngamy. As a result of syngamy, what will be formed? That is zygote will be formed, and zygote will develop into, that is, embryo. Is it right? The other male gamete, it will fuse with this. The result is known as, tell me, it is called, yes, it is called triple fusion. What is this? It is called, that is, triple fusion, and as a result of this triple fusion, primary endosperm nucleus will be formed, which ultimately will develop into, that is, endosperm. Can you recall the phenomena? That is syngamy and this triple fusion together. What we used to call, that these are known as, yes, it is called double fertilization. What is this? That is called, yes, double fertilization. And remembering, I told you detail of this already. I told you in the, that is, previous class. So this is the embryo sac. This is the egg apparatus. These are the polar nuclei. These are the antipodal cell. Zygote has been formed, and the zygote, that is here zygote, that will start to develop into embryo, and ultimately overall structure, that is ovule, that will develop into seed, and the seed will germinate, and after germination the seed will make the plant. This is the, that is, angiosperm plant. Is it clear to you? Yes. Come to the next now, very important aspect, very important point. You have seen by now different type of, that is, plant groups in plant kingdom, starting from multicellular algae, then bryophyte, pteridophyte, gymnosperm and angiosperm. We have to see different type of life cycle and alternation of generation. Life cycle of a plant is called alternation of generation, that is complete life cycle. In plants, both haploid means having n number of chromosome and diploid having 2 number of chromosome. The stage with n number of chromosome and 2 n number of chromosome, both of these stages exist, and these stages can divide by mitosis. This ability lead to the formation of different type of plant bodies. Important point. The plant body which is having haploid gamete forming, gamete producing, that is plant body is known as gametophyte, as the name indicate, and spore producing body is diploid. Spore producing body is known as sporophyte. So in sexually reproducing, that is organism, or especially if you say in plants, that is both stages, that is N and the 2N stages, they exist. N will develop into 2N and 2N will give rise to N. So there is alternation of generation. Gametophytic stage that will give sporophytic stage and sporophytic stage that gives gametophytic one, that is known as alternation of generation. The haploid plant body, it produces gametes by mitosis. Remember it. Following fertilization, that is following fertilization, the zygote may divide by mitosis to produce sporophyte or may divide by meiosis to produce haploid. Different type of life cycles will be there. Haploid spores, they germinate and give rise to gametophytic plant body. Thus, during life cycle of sexually reproducing plants, there occur alternation of generation between haploid and diploid phase. I told you that will make the gamete so-called male and that is female gamete. Fusion will be there, as a result of which that is 2 and that is stage will be formed. Is it right? Come to the next now. Syngamy and meiosis. Therefore, syngamy and meiosis, these are the important instrumental events for alternation of generation. No need to say it again. That is, alternation of generation is there in sexually reproducing organism. Sexually reproducing, that is plant kingdom we are taking. In different plant groups, the number of chromosomes when is haploid known as gametophytic one, gamete producing stage, and the spore producing stage is known as sporophytic one. Now, different plant groups, they have different type of, that is, life cycle pattern they have. The one is haplontic life cycle, haploid. You have to remember like this. Haploid means haploid, in life cycle both stages will be there, haploid as well as diploid. In haplontic stage, the dominating phase is free living and this is photosynthetic and this is dominating one. That is for this is long lasting one. While the diploid or sporophytic generation, this is represented only by single celled zygote. This type of life cycle is known as haplontic life cycle. The sporophytic stage, it doesn't have free existence, doesn't have free living state. Is it? That is haplontic life cycle. See the detail of this. The zygote here in haplontic stage that divides by meiosis. Such a meiosis is known as zygotic meiosis and form haploid spores. The spores on germination that give rise to gametophytic stage. This kind is known as haplontic one. Is it clear? You see, this is haplontic stage. This is the total life cycle here. That is for most of the period. That is haplontic one. This is haploid one. Haplontic stage that will make the gamete, so-called the male and the female gamete, will be produced by, that is, mitosis division, as a result of which, that is, gametes are formed. Male and gamete will fuse, syngamy will be there, and zygote, this is single celled one. It doesn't have independent, that is, structure. Zygote ultimately will divide one celled stage, divide by meiosis, spores will be formed, and this is, that is, haplontic stage. Most of the algae like Volvox, Spirogyra, and some species of Chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas is the genus which may have haplontic life cycle. That is some of the species of this that represent this pattern. Come to the next now. This is diplontic one. You compare it with this. Here the haplontic stage was dominating one. You are seeing with green color. Here this haplontic stage, that is as compared to this. In diplontic stage, this is diplontic one. That is this very phase, haploid stage or gametophytic stage, that is short-lived. The dominating one is diplontic one. Diplontic stage, that is sporophyte. The main plant body is sporophyte and that is diplontic one. Sporophyte that will make the gamete, that is meiosis will be there. As a result of this, what will be formed? That is the gametes will be formed. Gametes will represent the n number of chromosome, haploid stage, and the gamete, yes, the gamete will fuse now, syngamy will be there, as a result of which zygote will be formed and zygote will develop into sporophyte. That stage is known as, that is diplontic one. Can we summarize? Can we see the detail of this first? In diplomatic stage, you see dominating phases. Can you summarize? Free living, photosynthetic, and that is diploid structure. Meiosis occur at the time of spore formation. Spore mother cell, which are diploid in the chromosomes, they will divide by meiosis, will make the haploid spore. Haploid spore, because the meiosis will be in, that is at the time of spore formation, known as sporic meiosis. Spore germinate, give rise highly reduced few-celled gametophyte, and gametophyte are, that is, dependent physically as well as nutritionally on sporophyte, that is, they do not have independent existence. Life cycle is known as diplomatic one. All important point, all seed-bearing plant, that is the gymnosperm and angiosperm, that they have, that is diplomatic life cycle. But beside this, some brown algae like fucus and sargassum, they also have this type of pattern. You know, most of the algae, they have haploid life cycle, but this fucus and sargassum, they have diplomatic life cycle. Come to the next now, third one, that is haplodiplomatic life cycle. Haplodiplomatic, haploid as well as diploid, that is N as well as 2N. An intermediate type of life cycle this one is, where both haploid stage, that is gametophyte, and diploid stage sporophyte are multicellular. You see, in diplomatic life cycle, gametophyte was, do you remember that the gametophyte was few-celled or one-celled? Gametophyte was one, or that was few-celled one, while in this case both sporophyte and gametophyte are multicellular, and often they have free living existence. Bryophyte and pteridophyte, they exhibit this type of, that is life cycle, that is, but beyond this, some, that is algae, Cladophora and alba, these are the, that is green algae, these are the green algae. Ectocarpus, this one is, that is brown algae, right? Brown algae, this one is, and Polysiphonia, that one is, that is red algae. These are the exceptions. Usually algae, they have haplontic life cycle, but here these algae, they have this haplodiplomatic life cycle. See the diagram here again. What is there in haplodiplomatic life cycle? This is diploid stage, sporophyte this one is haploid stage, gametophytic one. This is also multicellular, right? And this is also multicellular. Multicellular this one is. What will be there? If this is, that is in case of bryophyte, you see here in case of bryophytes, this stage is, gametophytic stage is bigger, that is dominating one. Gametophytic stage, that will make the gamete by mitosis division. Male and female gamete will be formed. Male and female gamete, that is fusion will be there. Zygote will be there. Zygote doesn't divide by meiosis at once. Zygote will divide by mitosis, right? Zygote will divide by mitosis, and as a result of which this multicellular sporophyte will be formed. In multicellular sporophyte, there will be reduction division or meiosis will be there. Spores will be formed. Spores will develop into gametophyte. So in case of bryophyte, you see, because this stage is dominating one, that's why in case of, that is haplodiplomatic will be, usually in NCERT it is not given, that is only one term is given. In case of, we can say in case of bryophyte, that is life cycle is haplodiplomatic type. Why? Because the haploid stage is dominating one. While in case of bryophytes, while in case of pteridophytes, that is this stage is dominating one. So that's why we may call it as, that is diplohaplontic. Diplo, that is haplontic. This is haplontic life cycle. Diplohaplontic life cycle, it is found in case of pteridophyte. But we may use in single term, that is haplodiplomatic one, that is diploid, sporophyte, and haploid gametophytic stage. Both are almost, that is independent, and these are multicellular one. Is it right? This is diplomatic life cycle and haplontic life cycle. I told you it is exhibited by bryophytes and pteridophytes, and exceptionally that is by some green, brown and red algae. Come to the next, and then we have to go for previous year examinations questions which have appeared in NEET examination. First we have to see that is NCERT exemplars. In plant kingdom what we have, can I summarize here? That is, in plant kingdom you have studied different type of, that is algae, multicellular algae. Can you? Green algae, yes, this one is brown algae and this one is red algae. Then you have seen what? Bryophytes. Then you have seen, come on, you have seen that is pteridophyte. Then you have seen that is gymnosperm, and then you have seen angiosperm, and different type of life cycles you have seen just now. So these exemplars are also based on the same. That is, one question is cyanobacteria are classified under, can you give example of this? Cyanobacteria, these are classified under, yes, Protista, Plantae, Monera or algae. Cyanobacteria, as these are prokaryotic one among all these kingdom or among all these groups. Monera is only the prokaryotic one. Therefore, the cyanobacteria, they belong to Monera. Fusion of two motile gametes which are dissimilar in size. Dissimilar in size, what do you mean by? That is, one gamete is smaller, one gamete is bigger, maybe motile or maybe that is non-motile like this. That is known as an isogamy. Hold fast, stipe and frond. This is frond. This one is frond. They constitute the plant body. Rhodophyceae, Phaeophyceae, Chlorophyceae, all of the above. See it. In Phaeophyceae, I told you, kelps are there. Kelps. Large, giant size algae these are. And that is, these are found attached to any substratum with, that is, this is known as hold fast. This is the stipe, and this is the long blade which is floating on surface of water. So this structure is found in Phaeophyceae, right? Come to this point, diploid number of the flowering plant is 36. 2n number of chromosome is 36. What is the number of chromosome in endosperm? Very good question this is. Children, you have to see, this is the body of the angiospermic plant. Root, stem, leaves, this is the flower. Okay, in flower, can you summarize? This is that is carpel, and this one is, that is the anther. Root 2n, leaf 2n, stem 2n, flower 2n. All parts they have, that is 2n number of chromosome. While in case of pollen grain, that is whichly formed here, it is having n number of chromosome. Inside egg having n number of chromosome. And you must be remembering now that even the zygote will be formed. This is zygote. Zygote will be developed into embryo. It is having what? 2n number of chromosome. And endosperm is having, that is 3n number of chromosome. Is it right? The all parts of the sporophytic body, 2n. The gametes, they have n number of chromosome, and endosperm is having 3n number of chromosome. Can you calculate it now? 2n is, that is 36, that is 2n. So n number will be what? That is 18. Is it right? We have to see endosperm. Endosperm is a triploid structure. 18 3s are, that is 54. That is the right answer of this. Protonema. Proto, that is nema. Protonema, you know. Protonema in case of bryophyte, especially in mosses, you can recall it. In moss, that is in capsule, what will be formed? Spore will be formed. Spore will be formed, and spore will germinate. Spore will germinate into very well branched structure like this, on which the buds will be formed. This is known as, can you summarize? That is filamentous structure is known as moss. That is known as protonema. So protonema, because it is formed by germination of spore. Spore is having n number of chromosome. It is haploid and found in mosses. See which one is correct. Is it diploid? It's not diploid. It's not found in liverwort. This is not diploid. it is not found in pteridophyte. This is haploid, but it is not found in pteridophyte. What's the right answer? This is haploid because it is formed by, that is, spore, and it is found in case of mosses. Right? See a few questions of the previous year examinations. Bryophyte and pteridophyte, transport of male gamete requires, yes, that requires water. An example of colonial algae, you can summarize this one is, that is volvox. Which one is wrongly matched? Uniflagellated gametes, no. Uniflagellated. In case of Polysiphonia, because it belongs to red algae, and red algae, that is motile forms are absent. So this is the right answer. This is wrongly matched. Strobilus or cones are present, not in this, not in this, not in this. These are formed in equisetum. Floridian starch has structure similar to amylopectin and glycogen. You can give the answer of this question. See the question which had come last year, 2020. Which of the following pair is unicellular? Chlorella and Spironia. These are the unicellular algae. So this is all for this chapter. Chapter number 3 we have finished in 7 parts. Thank you very much.